I'm Justin McLemore.
I'm Tyler Rowan.
I'm Adam Kawecki.
And I'm Zach Toshko. This is 1900 to 1919.
In 1901, President McKinley visited the Pan American Exposition, a World's Fair which was held in Buffalo, New York.
Whoa, President McKinley! Whoa, yeah, America! President McKinley, look over here! President McKinley! Yeah, President McKinley! Whoa, yeah!
Mr. McKinley, over here! Mr. McKinley! Mr. McKinley!
It's an honor to meet you, Mr. President.
Mr. President!
On this fateful day, William McKinley became the third president to be assassinated. His assassin, radical anarchist and metal worker Leon Kusulgaz, was captured and executed several weeks later by the United States government. News of the president's assassination shocked the country.
Have you heard the president has been assassinated in New York?
Wow, that's a shame. Hi, I'm Theodore Roosevelt, 26th President of the United States. I took over after this guy kicked butt. I was born in New York City in 1858. I led the Rough Riders to victory in the Spanish-American War. Charge!
Put your right hand on the Bible and raise your left hand. Repeat after me. I, Theodore Roosevelt,
I, Theodore Roosevelt,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
to be one damn good president.
to be one damn good president.
During my presidency, I established the National Park Service and built the Panama Canal.
I've been an avid hunter all my life. I've killed over 11,000 animals.
Excellent shot, Mr. President.
On January 6, 1919, I died in my sleep in this very room. Turn off the light.
The Pageant of the Roses is the prelude to the ultimate showdown on the gridiron between the Michigan Wolverines and the Stanford Cardinal. And the battle for the roses at the first annual Rose Bowl, January 1st, 1902, in beautiful, sunny Pasadena, California. Michigan looks to continue its undefeated season as Stanford looks to get away.
The 1903 World Series was the first modern World Series to be played in Major League Baseball. The matchup featured the American League champion Boston Americans and the National League champion Pittsburgh Pirates in a best-of-9 series. The Boston Americans were managed by Hall of Famer Jimmy Collins and finished the regular season with a 91-47 record. The Pittsburgh Pirates were managed by Hall of Famer Fred Clark and finished the regular season with a 91-49 record. The Boston Americans ultimately won the series 5-3 after winning 4 consecutive games. Due to overflow crowds at the exhibition games in Pittsburgh, if a batted ball rolled under a rope in the outfield that held spectators back, a ground rule triple would be scored. 17 ground rule triples were hit in the 4 games at the stadium and were a major factor in determining the series.
December 17th, 1903, Kitty Hawk, North Carolina. After weeks of planning and debating, 2 brothers from Dayton, Ohio, Wilbur and Orville Wright, are ready to test their glider. They finally decide on a glider design and head to Kitty Hawk, North Carolina. While only flying for 12 seconds and crashing, the Wright brothers become the first people in flight. Returning to Dayton with their design, they will receive a patent several years later.
After receiving their patent, the Wright brothers sold their design to the U.S. Army to use in World War I and to many other companies. All planes today can trace back their design to the original Wright brothers glider.
In 1909, the first man to set foot on the North Pole was Matthew Henson, an African American from Maryland. This man, Robert Peary, was the leader of the group heading to the North Pole and had become close friends with Henson after going on countless explorations and adventures with him. Along with a pack of snow dogs and a group of 4 natives, Peary led the charge to the North Pole. Stopping along the way due to extreme polar conditions, the group picked up and started moving ahead and marched for 200 miles in a month. Then, in April of 1909, Peary declared that his group had reached the North Pole and planted their flags at the position.
The Triangle Shirtwaist Fire is a fire that took place in the Ash Building in downtown Manhattan. At the top of the Ash Building was the Triangle Shirtwaist Factory. The fire claimed the lives of 146 workers. The high number in casualties can be attributed to the horrible design. There were 4 elevators in the factory, and the fire blocked 2 of them. So while the fire was raging on, the employees were forced to cram into 2 small elevators, wait for them to lower, then come back up. This was a very slow process, and it's the main reason so many lives were lost. Another huge problem is that the shirtwaist factory was too high for the FDNY ladders to reach. The factory was 3 floors above the highest point the ladders could go. If the ladders were tall enough, or if the factory was moved down a couple floors, many more lives could have been saved. And so, because of the horrible design and bad equipment, the fire was able to stay lit for a very long time. It engulfed the entire factory and everything was destroyed. The fire and its 146 victims prompted reforms, as many acts have been put in place to prevent something like this from happening again.
Order! Has the jury reached a decision?
Yes, Your Honor, we have. We, the jury, find the Standard Oil Trust under Mr. John D. Rockefeller to be an unreasonable monopoly under the Sherman Antitrust Act.
Oh, come on! I mean, that is ridiculous, man. I mean, that's flat out ridiculous. We have been hoodwinked, bamboozled, led astray, run amok, and flat out deceived.
Order! I hereby order the breakup of Standard Oil this 15th day of May 1911 to be effective immediately. Case closed.
After the trial, the Standard Oil Trust was divided into 34 companies. Standard Oil was one of many monopolies headed by billionaires like John D. Rockefeller that were declared illegal in the early 1900s. RMS Titanic set sail on April 10, 1912 from England. Deemed the unsinkable ship, was headed for New York City. While daily life for passengers was relatively comfortable, life improved with the more money you had, which you are seeing as Titanic's luxury dining room only available to rich first-class passengers. After hitting an iceberg, Titanic sank on April 15, 1912. Of the over 3,300 passengers and crew, 1,635 died. The huge loss of life was mainly due to lack of lifeboats and ill preparedness. The passengers that did survive were picked up by the RMS Lusitania. After taking the survivors to New York City, formal inquiries were made into the sinking. Titanic's sinking was so significant that many new regulations for passenger ships were made, including carrying sufficient lifeboats and having both 24-hour radio and distress flares.
Hi, I'm Woodrow Wilson, 28th President of the United States, born in Staunton, Virginia, on December 28th of 1856. In the 1912 presidential election, I beat this fatty, William Howard Taft. During my presidency from 1913 to 1921, I led the U.S. through the heat of World War I and passed many progressive policies. Some of my favorite hobbies are riding my horse named Arizona and sailing my yacht in the Chesapeake Bay. I came up with the idea of the League of Nations to ensure world peace.
Whoa, gentlemen. Let's create peace. Let's work for peace.
Let's work for peace. Although, I don't know if Congress would like that idea. I died due to a stroke in Washington, D.C. on February 3rd of 1924.
Good morning. Today is June 28th, 1914, and in today's news we have the Archduke's trip to Serbia, and we have breaking news here, ladies and gentlemen, regarding the Archduke's trip. The Archduke, Franz Ferdinand of Austria, has been shot and killed in Sarajevo, Serbia. We go to an onlooker's view now of the incident. Hearing reports that Austria and Germany are now positioning troops to invade into Serbia after the assassination.
I, Kaiser Wilhelm II of the House of Hohenzollern, was born in 1859, destined to become Emperor of Germany. But a shorter left arm added to my insecurity and hot temper. Despite these shortcomings, in 1888 I was crowned der König von Prussia in the Deutsche Kaiser. In 1914, I came to Austria's aid after the dirty Serbs killed Franz Ferdinand, but because of my generals, their Vaterlands lost the war. After we lost the Great War, I abdicated the throne. After my abdication, I went into exile in the Netherlands, where I took up wood splitting as a hobby. In 1941, I died in my sleep. Young men of America, we need you to join this army. We are fighting an enemy that threatens you and your family. Join these men and this great army and protect your loved ones.
Say a prayer, send the word to beware. We'll be over, we're coming over, and we won't come back till it's over there.
Brother, read this. It's the future. It's the future. The future of Russia. The future of the Union. Oh, you too here, read this. Read this. It's the future. It's the future. It's the future of this great country. Thank you. Thank you. Overthrow the Tsar! Overthrow the Tsar! Overthrow the Tsar! Communism forever!
What? Communism? You are under arrest.
Communism forever!
Shut up! Vladimir Lenin, for insulting the Tsar, we're putting you in Siberia once and for all. You're going to learn to clean up your act and quit that communism ideas.
Soon after my exile, I was put on a train by the Germans and shipped back to Russia.
We need the Duma in Russia. This is a necessity for the success of this great country. We must go to war to fight for our right to the Duma. We must go to war, ladies and gentlemen. We must go to war.
Surrender to the Tsar.
No, you're outnumbered. Surrender to this communist revolution.
Yeah!
There it is.
Whoa, yeah! Whoa!
Yeah.
Mr. Lenin, whoa! The great one, the great one. Whoa, yeah, nice to meet you, sir.
How you doing?
Brother.
Hey!
Brother.
Hey! Whoa!
Oh, God. It's okay, everyone. I'm all right. Long live communism, and long live the Soviet Union.
Good morning, and here is your news for May 13th, 1918. So far, the flu has claimed the lives of nearly 1 million across the world. And now we go live to a Red Cross hospital downtown. Take it away, Jim.
Thank you, Bob. Now we are here at a local Red Cross hospital downtown with interviewing this nurse right here. Now, ma'am, what is your name and how long have you been working as a Red Cross nurse?
My name is Margaret, and I've been with the Red Cross since we entered the war in 1917.
So that means you have been working for about 4 months?
Yes, that is correct.
Now, have you been seeing patients suffering from the flu this whole time?
Daily we have for about the last 4 months, yes.
Oh, dear. That's terrible. Now, nurse, do you see an end in sight to this epidemic here?
Well, I'm not exactly sure. Oh, no! Oh, no! Oh, no! Oh, no! Oh, no!
Back to you in the studio.
Oh boy. God bless all nurses and people fighting this epidemic out there. Be safe and have a good day.
On January 16th, 1919, President Wilson signed into law the 18th Amendment. Prohibition, as it was called, banned the sale, production, and transportation of alcohol.
I feel like something fishy's going on down there. I think we should go break it up.
Well, how do you know?
I don't know. I just have a feeling. Police! Put your hands up! Put your hands up! Stand up and put your hands behind your back and get towards the wall.
This ain't cool, man.
No.
Alright, get moving up the stairs.
This ain't cool.
Get
man.
moving.
This is not cool. This is not cool, man. Watch out, man.
Get moving. Let's go.
Hang on.
Oh, God. Go back down and get the booze.
All right, deputy. These dirty scumbags violating the 18th Amendment prohibition. When are they ever gonna learn? There's no good alcohol. It ain't good for nobody.
Babe Ruth began his career in 1914 as a pitcher for the Boston Red Sox. In his time with the Red Sox, he struck out 483 batters. Towards the end of the 1919 season, the Red Sox agreed to trade Ruth to the New York Yankees for $100,000 in cash.
Extra, extra, read all about it. Sox trade Ruth to the Yankees. Sox trade Ruth to the Yankees for cash. Read all about it.
Wow, did you hear that?
Yeah, I can't believe they just traded Babe away like that.
Yeah. Sure hope this doesn't curse the Red Sox forever.
Ruth went on to play 15 seasons with the Yankees, becoming one of the best players in Major League history. Meanwhile, the Red Sox would not win another World Series for 86 years after the trade.
Take me out to the ball game. Take me out with the crowd. Buy me some peanuts and cracker jack. For it's 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out at the old ball game.
At the 1919 World Series, 8 players of the Chicago White Sox conspired with gambler Arnold Rothstein in an effort to throw the World Series against the Cincinnati Reds to get back at the Chicago owner for poor pay. The White Sox committed 11 errors during the series, which they purposefully lost to the Reds 5-3. After reviewing the game, the MLB officials decided it was time for the commissioner to weigh in.
I, Kennesaw Mountain Landis, as the Commissioner of Major League Baseball, not only condemn the actions of the Chicago White Sox in the 1919 World Series, but find it only necessary, in order to maintain the integrity of this great game, to banish these 8 men forever.
The Black Sox scandal, as it would be called, not only led to the banishment of 8 players from Major League Baseball, but it also led to a players' union, whose goal was to fight for players' rights, including better and fair wages for all professional baseball players.
Thank you, Bob. I'm standing... Thanks, Bob. Thank you, Bill. I'm standing here with... Thank you, Bill. Thank you, Tommy.
Wait a minute, I didn't even start yet. And you missed.
Go. Go.
What? No, I was clear my...
Go.
And his name is John C.
Why are you running? Why are you running?